Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
So the hand I have is from one of the agent apps. It's a 2-4 game, and here is the effective stack of 1200.
All right, so 2-4, 1200. Is this on like Poker or Poker Bros or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
So under the gun player who covers, who's not a dunk, let's just say. I mean, looks like one of better players.
Yeah.
So he limped, which I know is I just said he's one of the better players, but in this particular hand he limps, which it is what it is. And then +1, who's definitely a solid player. I played with him before. He raises to 18.
Okay.
Okay. Middle position, who also covers, he calls.
Yeah.
And then it's folded to here on the button with Jack of spades, Jack of clubs, so blackjacks. And here choose to 3-bet to 76.
On the button?
On the button,
Jack, spades, Jack. All right, so just one quick thing about here. So under the gun limps, +1 raises to 18. MP1 calls, right?
Right.
MP1 calls, and you make it 76 with Jack of spades, Jack of clubs on the button, which I think is a little bit small. You've got two callers in between, so you could probably make this, I would say, maybe even
one caller, right? Raise and a call.
Oh, one caller. Okay, to 76.
It's basically 4x plus,
right.
Plus
and just
limp.
and one thing about this, because obviously I've played on a lot of these agent apps, and again, I think by now most people are either on them or they're not. But if you do want to check out Poker Bros or Poker Kings, there's a link in the description. And again, I'm not going to go over it too much more, but basically, like, one of the big variables with these agent games is like who your agent is or who your club is and how reputable they are in paying out. So me and a couple CLP guys, we did a thing where we're like, well, we can guarantee the money so that at least, because I knew that some CLP subscribers and other people were going to play on them anyways. You might as well go through somebody that you know. But I have been playing a fair amount of full ring for a number of different reasons, because you can multi-table it much easier, because it kind of goes slow, right? Because everyone seems to be multi-tabling. I don't know if this is your experience, Gene. Everyone seems to be multi-tabling, so it takes a few seconds for everybody to sort of action to go through. So you can easily, in your sleep, almost play 8 tables of full ring. You can't really do that 6-max. But I've seen a lot of limping from up front in these 9-handed games, and I'm like, is this like a new thing? And then I just realized that it's probably just a bunch of live players, right? That are like one tabling.
It really depends, like, on the game. Like some games are like there's almost no limping.
Yeah.
So it depends on the club. I mean, like some it's basically like a live game, only it's played online. So it varies, like, by a very, very large margin, I would say.
There are also some tables where you have to play like a minimum VPIP, which I thought was interesting. Some people said that people will limp to try to get to that number, so that's interesting too. Okay, so you 3-bet to 76 with Jack on the button. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's blinds fold.
Okay.
And all three, the UTG limper called calls, or limp calls, I guess.
Yeah.
3-bet. The razor, the pre-flop razor called, and the middle position, overcalls the 3-bet. So 4-way to the flop.
So this limper, he limp cold call the 3-bet.
Yeah. And I know I said he's a decent player, which, again, based on how he played other hands, like maybe this particular hand, he didn't, but like overall, especially comparing to other players, he's definitely a better than the average player in that particular player pool. So I just take my word on it.
Yeah.
But obviously the limp calling 3-bet, on the gun,
pretty non-standard for
sure.
They're
very fishy, but that's what happens. So
okay.
All right, so we go 4-way to the flop.
Yep.
And the flop comes out, very, very interesting flop. So it's ace of clubs, king of clubs, 10 of clubs. I got blackjack.
All right, so ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, king of clubs, you've got blackjack. So you have the second sort of nut flush draw and the royal flush draw, right? The gut shot to the queen in the second. And because it's a 3-bet pot, even right off the bat, when you look at, how live is your flush draw, it's it's really, really hard for somebody to have the queen. Well, I mean, someone can have a bear queen and clubs like as a pair, like ace queen, king queen, but in a three bet
Hmm.
pot, like it's real hard here on this board when you have the jack of clubs for anybody really to have queen x of clubs, right? I mean, I guess queen nine of clubs, that's fucking pretty far out there though, right? Like, I mean, in reasonable ranges in terms of a two card queen high flush, it's very difficult to have.
Yeah, yeah, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
the middle position who double flatted, like he was the fish basically.
Yeah,
He could
yeah,
have that, I guess. Like he could
yeah.
have some kind of club, but yeah, but one question. So all right, so the action goes. They all check to me,
Okay.
basically, right?
Yeah.
And so first thing I wanted to ask you, like I was a little confused here, like because obviously this board smacks me as a three better hard, right? On one hand, I have like everything, like ace king, kings, aces, whatever. But on the other hand, like I have a hand that, uh, you know, kind of strong. Like I don't want to, I don't like this is the thing. So I don't know if I should be betting or not because
Right.
like
Let me
I
just
could bet and maybe call a check raise, but I'm not probably ahead if that happens.
Well, let me just take a small exception to what you're saying when you said, "Oh, this board really smacks me." I mean, it hits you, but you don't really have the nut hands here on this board, as
Right.
opposed to is if the board was like Ace King Deuce Rainbow, then you really would have it, right? Or
Right.
Ace
Right.
King
Of
Deuce
course.
two flush. But the problem here is that you don't, and again with the texture of the board, unless you've specifically flopped a royal flush, which is one of the hands that you might three bet squeeze here, Queen Jack of clubs, you just don't really have any flushes here. I mean, I guess you could have a small suited connector flush that you decide to squeeze, like a 5-6 suited, 7-6 suited, things like that. But the concentration, most of the concentration of your three betting here being like sort of somewhat linearly when it goes limp, raise, call, would be non-flush types of hands. So that's just one thing. So you don't really have like a whole lot of thick nut hands in the form of flop flushes. Would I bet here if I were you? Probably not, because first of all, it's multi-way, right? So you're supposed to be betting far less, and with far like infrequently. I mean, excuse me. Sizing should be very small. And if you were to take, say, like a 25% sizing here, you're just. I mean, I guess a case could be made that you're basically sort of building up the pot with a hand with a lot of equity, and maybe you can get a king to fold, but again, it's a three bet pot, so I feel like any of these hands that have pairs in them should have also gut shot straight draws too.
Yeah.
Like what king is going to fold here? Because it's going to be king queen, right?
Right. Well,
You know?
yeah, that exactly. And yeah, it's like you said. I mean, I don't have like flushes, but like you said, probably nobody does, right? So that's what I meant. It kind of hits me. I don't have the nuts, but probably nobody does. But at the same time, like, I think hands are going to continue like pre-flop raise. Can have ace queen, and can I have a queen of clubs? There's no way in hell he's folding, right, for a bet. I mean, there's no way,
Honestly,
right?
like unless you were going to run unless you wanted to start to run basically just a triple barrel, which is not usually advisable against three players, like a triple barrel bluff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I would probably check this back,
Okay,
mostly.
so that's what I did.
Yeah.
I checked it back, but I
Yeah.
just kind of looking back, I was just thinking because it was like at the time, especially online, like you don't have a whole lot of time to think,
Sure,
which
sure.
actually is kind of makes a difference. But that was my initial thought that I'm
Yeah.
not really getting any better to fold, and, so I checked back. But then I'm thinking back, I was just wondering. But anyway, so I did check back.
Mhm.
Okay, so we go to the turn. So
Yep.
the pot is 3-10, and the turn is a four of hearts. It's
Okay.
a brick.
Yep.
Okay. So now the under the gun player, who's remember the limp
Right.
holder of the three bet,
Yeah.
right? Who is a decent player, let's say. So he now bets out 140
Okay.
into 310, and the other two players fold. So it's folded to me now.
That's really interesting because when you start to think about like what is a limp cold calling range here, a pre-flop, and it's like is he limp cold calling with like a suited connector? You should be raising with a lot of these hands that hits that board from up front, like ace king, aces king. You know what I mean? Tens. It's just I wouldn't have expected to see this guy come out and bet. I would think that this actually would be one of the worst boards for somebody who limp cold calls a three bet from under the gun because he shouldn't have suited hands, right? And he probably should have be raising the hands that hit this board. So it's kind of weird. Maybe he has
Right.
pocket fours. He could have pocket fours. I mean that's about it. I mean that's maybe about it. I mean, obviously I would call. I mean, you've got a gut shot to a queen. Yeah.
Yeah. I did call. So I just called, and just to go back to what I thought he might have, like even before the flop came out, when he limp called under the gun a 3-bet, like obviously the most hand that makes the most sense, I thought, is a pocket pair, like a small pocket pair,
right,
which could be like anything from deuces to whatever, nines.
He could possibly have like a hand like ace jack too. Someone's saying maybe like king 10, which would be bottom two, like king 10 suited. Yeah, I mean those are possibilities, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So here, like you said, I just called.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was, I guess, more standard spot. But now the river. So now the pot is 590, and the river comes out 7 of clubs.
Okay.
Giving me a second nut flush.
Right.
Okay. And now he continues to bet. Now he bets 400 into 590.
He bets 400. So UTG bets 400 into 590. I mean, it's one of these things where like you can't ever make this. I don't think you can ever make this fold online because, you've got the second nuts here and you don't know who the other player is on the other side. Whereas, like, there are very, very special circumstances where you actually might be able to fold here to, like, a certain live player that you just know always has it. I mean, what this guy's basically saying is he's got, like, ace-queen with the queen of clubs, right, that was limp called, or, like, maybe king-queen with the queen of clubs that he just decided to come out and bomb the turn because he's got the nut flush draw, he's got a pair, he's got a gut shot, right, to a jack, right, king-queen of clubs on ace-10 club. I just can't see myself folding here in an online game. Kind of similar to like how sometimes I would say like I don't fold hands sometimes in very, very low stakes games either, like live games, just because it's like I've seen so much wacky shit. Like I'd have to really, really know the guy, and you can't do that online, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay, well, I tell you what happened. I tell you what I thought and what I did and what happened. So what I was thinking, I mean, basically, like you say, he's represented queen of clubs. I mean, essentially with his bet, just the queen of clubs. So what I was thinking is like, what the hell kind of queen of clubs can he have here? Like, and it just didn't make any sense because, like ace queen, but he limped. He limped under the gun.
Right.
When called with ace queen just was too weird. And I just figured
someone in the live chat saying queen 2. The whole idea of limping, but listen to me. The whole idea of limping in from, I tend to agree with you off the bat. You think that all those hands would straight open, right?
Yeah.
But the whole idea of limp calling a 3-bet is just bizarre in itself. Right. So that would just lead me to there's just no way I could call. There's no way that I could fold to a guy that limp called a 3-bet from under the gun. So did you call?
Right. Yeah, I did call. He had king jack offsuit, no clubs, obviously. So he was just like a straight up bluff. I just thought it was like pretty interesting, and the sizing on the river too. I mean,
that is weird. King jack offsuit, no club. I mean, again, I think it goes to show you like you have to sort of play in a less, I don't want to say like less exploit. I think sometimes you have to play a little bit less. I guess you could say less exploitable online when you don't know the other side. And not that like I think you can still take some exploitable value lines. I probably don't fold as much. And I also think that the bluffing frequency online this is another kind of thing, Gene, that I found. The bluffing, it's easier to bluff online. There's no physical live shame in it. Where somebody might actually pull a play online that they would never do live. Not anything to do with poker theory, just that like they sort of have, I don't know if you'd say like the balls to do it, but there's a shame that goes into.
Yeah, you're not going to look stupid when you call.
Exactly.
You're not look fair in the player's face.
Right.
Yeah,
so
you're right. Exactly.
So you see some shit like that go on, and I think you just need to be a little bit more call happy. But anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the call. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call-in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.